This year's university entrance exam, or 수능, will take place on November 14th, with the Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation saying that roughly 50% of the exam's questions will be based on lectures from EBS.
올해 대학 수학능력시험은 오는 11월 14일에 실시되며 EBS 수능 교재 및 강의와 수능 출제 문제 사이의 연계율은 50% 수준이 유지될 것이라고 한국교육과정평가원이 발표했습니다. All right, so we have 136 days to go until the 수능.
Is that right?
Yes.
136.
Yeah, tell us more.
Yeah, so the Curriculum Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation announcing this, saying that up to 50% of the questions will be connected to EBS lectures.
Yeah.
And of course, the reason for this is that they want to emphasize the public education curriculum while maintaining the ability to assess students' capabilities. And I think that's the balance that I think test makers are always trying to handle because they want to make the 수능 fair
Right.
for everyone that's taking it and also reducing the dependence on private education as well.
Exactly. I think that's a key point that the ministry has been trying to do over the years, the education ministry, and of course, as you said, the Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation. Okay, so when we talk about roughly something,
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
When you say roughly something, you're approximating. So it's an approximate, an estimate. You could say it's in the neighborhood of
Yeah,
something.
that's
So,
a good
right?
one.
So,
Yeah.
in the neighborhood of 50% of the questions will come from EBS lectures. Another idiomatic expression would be in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I imagine that's probably more of an American idiom. When you talk about ballpark, it's usually a baseball
Sure.
ballpark. So in the ballpark of a certain number
Yeah.
or an estimation. So that's what roughly means.
대략적으로 이런 뜻이 되겠습니다. Roughly 그리고 비슷한 표현으로 in the neighborhood of. neighborhood는 그 이웃, 동네 이런 뜻이잖아요. 그러니까 구체적인 한 주소지를 말하는 게 아니라 동네라는 단어를 씀으로 인해서 이 숫자도 정확하게 뭐 50%는 아니지만 대략 50% 정도의 이제 수능 문제들이 EBS 강의와 교재와 이제 간접적으로 연계가 된 그런 질문이 될 것이다. 이런 의미가 되겠네요. 이 볼파크는 또 야구에서 온 표현인데, 네, 우리 예전에 제이슨 선생님이 상세하게 설명을 해주신 적이
Oh, is that
있는데요.
right?
네,
I can imagine Jason explaining that
네.
very passionately too.
제가 많이 배웠습니다.
Yes.
그래서 in the ballpark of 뭐뭐뭐 역시 마찬가지로 대략 이런 뜻이 되겠습니다.
Right.
자, 그 다음에는 it's gonna be based on something.
Yeah, so we say it's connected to the EBS lectures,
Yeah.
but we can also say it's based on something.
Sure.
I think if you're a movie buff, you would hear you'd see the words based on a true story,
Yeah.
boats, right?
Yeah,
As
yeah.
it's shortened in a
Oh,
lot of times.
Is
boats.
it shortened like that?
Yeah, you've never heard of that? So
No.
if you say this movie's Boats, then it's based on a true story.
Wow.
It's an acronym for that. There
I'm
you go.
guessing this is not a new term.
I don't think so. I've heard it
never heard it
been said
before.
around before.
see.
But if something's based on something, it has a basis or a root or a foundation in something else. Another way you can say this is based off of something.
Yep.
Would mean this exact same thing. But a lot of native speakers make this mistake. They say just based off. You have to have the of after that.
Aha,
So
I
it's
see.
based on something, based off of something, but you can't just say based off something.
아, 그렇군요.
Yeah. Grammatically, it's incorrect.
네, 그렇습니다. 자, 무엇을 기초로 하다 아니면은 무엇을 바탕으로 하다. 그러니까요, 우리가 영화를 볼 때 이 영화는 실화를 바탕으로
Yes.
만들어진 영화입니다. 이런 말을 할 때 This movie is based on a true story. 근데 이거를 약자로 BOATS라고 한다는 거는
Colloquially.
그건 좀 몰랐어요. 그러니까
Yeah.
그 뭐 문자나 아니면은 소셜 미디어에 이렇게 올린다는 거죠?
Sure.
그렇군요. 자, 그래서 based on something something 여기서는 이제 수능 문제 중에 한 50% roughly 그 정도가 그 이제 EBS 강의와 그다음에 그 문제들과 이제 간접적으로 연계가 된 it's gonna be based on 거기를 바탕으로 한 그런 문제들일 것이다.
And might I add, no killer questions on this
그래요.
year's Suning as well.
네, 그렇습니다.
Yes.
이거는 이제 우리가 먼저 한국에서 표현을 만들었고 이 킬러 문항 이번에 없을 거다. 근데
Yes.
그거를 또 영어로 다시 옮긴 케이스예요. 그래서 원래 영어에는 킬러 퀘스천이라는 표현이 없지만 이 경우는 이제 한국 뉴스가 메인이기 때문에 그걸
Yeah.
영어로 옮겼을 때 killer question이라고 하죠.
You know, although when I was in school, we would say, "Oh, that test was a killer."
Yeah,
we
yeah.
would say that.
Yeah,
that means it was very
really
difficult,
hard,
right?
yes.
So I see where the expression can come from.
그렇습니다. That was a killer라고 하면은 시험 너무 어려웠어.
Yeah.
이런 의미가 될 수도 있어요. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. This year's university entrance exam or 수능 will take place on November 14th, with the Korea Institute for Curriculum and Evaluation saying that roughly 50% of the exam questions will be based on lectures from EBS. 자, 136일 남은 수능 응원글도 좀 부탁드릴게요.
Yes.
자, 다음 헤드라인 가보겠습니다.
Korea's exports of pharmaceutical and biotechnologies surged in the first half of the year, totaling 4.5 trillion won, up 55% from the same period last year.
올해 상반기 국내 제약 바이오 업계 기술 수출 규모가 지난해 같은 기간보다 55% 증가한 4조 5천억 원에 이르는 것으로 나타났습니다. Okay, so we're talking about the exports of technologies in regards to pharmaceuticals and biopharmaceuticals, and it's gone up.
Yes, it has. You know, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry here in South Korea. So it's very significant. And if you look at just the numbers here, we're talking about exports, of course, to foreign countries. And the time period is from January to June. The total amount of exports went from 2.9 trillion last year to 4.5 trillion this year. So that's up 55%. That's a pretty significant
Yeah.
increase. And the number of deals actually decreased from 12 to 7, but the amount of these deals increased over this period. 3 of the deals signed alone were over 500 billion won. So these are
yeah.
massive contracts that benefit the industry here in South Korea.
And I understand that at the current rate, by the end of 2024,
Yep.
we expect to see around 8 trillion won of exports
At
in
the
this
current rate.
field.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And if we can just, describe what biopharmaceuticals, biotechnologies are, there things like, like insulin, growth hormones, gene therapy materials, vaccines are
Yeah.
also a part of this industry. So
Right.
pretty high tech.
So anything with bio in it is something to do with the body, right? I think.
Living things,
Living
right?
things, right.
Right.
Biology. Ah, that's right. Biographies, something to do with something living. 자, 그렇다면은 지금 이제 작년 같은 기간 상반기 1월부터 6월까지의 그때 이제 국내 제약 바이오 업계 기술 수출 규모는 2조 9천억 원 정도였다고 하는데요. 지금은 이제 또 굉장히 많이 오른 상태고 올해 말까지는 8조 원 정도에 다다르지 않겠느냐 이런 projection 예측 전망치도 나옵니다. All right, so you mentioned what pharmaceutical means. In Korean, that would be 제약 아니면 약학.
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's anything
pharma.
relating
Yeah.
to pharmacy,
Yeah.
which is, the art of preserving, preparing, dispensing medical drugs, or the word alone could mean a medicinal drug.
Yeah,
Right? So pharmaceuticals as a noun would just mean medicinal drugs.
아, 그렇군요. 그러니까 그 약에 관한 단어가 되겠는데 우리가 보통 이제 약국 얘기를 할 때 drugstore라고 하기도 하지만 pharmacy라는 표현을 많이 쓰고요.
Apothecary is another word
그거는
that I've seen.
네, 좀 덜 흔히 볼 수 있는 표현이긴 하지만 네, apothecary라는 표현도 있죠. 그다음에 이제 pharmaceutical은 그래서 약학, 제약 이런 뜻이 되겠고 exports in this field have surged.
Yeah, if something surges, it rises suddenly,
Yeah, yeah.
usually abnormally or excessively. It means a lot. You hear this when you hear in business news when the stock market is surging.
Yeah.
But normally surging, you hear it about waves, storms, when waters swell. That means they're surging. A storm surge is what you hear when there are hurricanes or typhoons.
그렇습니다. 이 surge라는 동사, surge는요, 갑자기 파도가 밀려오는 것을 연상하시면 될 것 같은데요. 바다에서 무섭게 굉장히 큰 파도가 샥 밀려온다. 요 느낌을 이제 경제 뉴스에서 보게 되면은 그만큼 뭐 수치가 올라갔다든지 이 경우에는 이제 수출 규모가 올라갔다든지 할 때 쓸 수 있겠습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Korea's exports of pharmaceutical and biotechnologies surged in the first half of the year, totaling 4.5 trillion won, up 55% from the same period last year.
French voters went to the polls on Sunday in the first round of a snap parliamentary election that could usher in a potential sea change, with the far right closer to power than it has ever been in modern times.
일요일인 어제 프랑스 유권자들이 조기 총선 1차 투표를 진행한 가운데 이번 총선에서는 프랑스 역사상 극우 세력이 그 어느 때보다 정권을 잡을 가능성이 커진 대격변이 예고되고 있습니다. So I believe it could be the first time since World War II
Yeah.
that France will have or could have
Yeah.
A far right government.
Yes, exactly. So, like in the headline, it said voters in a record number, a higher turnout than was expected, went to the polls to vote and participate in this election. And the pre-election projections had projected that the far right would gain the most seats, and it looks like many of the outlets that were looking at the current updates we're seeing is, in fact, the RN, the National Rally Party, looks to be heading to a victory in the first round. So the parliamentary elections in France, there are 2 rounds. So there's another round scheduled for next week. Now, the problem is that it doesn't look like they will achieve an absolute majority.
Okay.
So France might be heading for a lot of political uncertainty, or at least a hung parliament where it's hard to get laws passed through.
Now, if this far-right government is formed, then that means the president and the ruling party will be different. They'll
Exactly.
be opposing parties.
My understanding is that the leading figure in the parliament becomes the prime minister in France. So
Got it.
there's going to be a lot of disagreement
Between
there,
the president
I
and the prime
imagine.
minister.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And the whole reason that this snap election was called was that in the European parliamentary elections that were recently held,
Yep.
President Macron's party suffered a massive defeat. So that's why this snap election was scheduled.
네, 지금 현재 이제 그 에마뉴엘 마크롱 프랑스 대통령의 당이 인기가 좀 떨어지면서 그 정반대인 극우 정당인 RN 블로크가 현재까지는 득표율이 34% 정도라고 하는데요. 다른 당에 비해서 앞서가고 있습니다. 다른 당들은 뭐 28%, 20% 이 정도를 기록하고 있고요. 현재로서. 근데 이제 투표가 다 끝난 건 아니고요. 2차에 나눠서 치러지게 됩니다. 2차, 2 rounds.
Yeah.
우리가 이제 저기 뭐 한 잔 마시러 갈 때도 first round, second round 이렇게
Second
표현할
round,
수
yeah.
있듯이
Great example.
투표도 이렇게 표현을 합니다.
In fact, President Macron's party is not even in second right now. Projections are
yeah.
showing that his party is in a dismal third place.
A dismal
at the
third place.
Yeah, very poor showing.
그러네요. 지금 당별로 지금 득표율을 보게 되면은 마크롱 대통령의 당은 지금 3위를 기록하고 있는데 그냥 3위가 아니라요. dismal이라고 하면은 참 침울하다 이런 느낌이 있기 때문에 많이 뒤처진 3위다
Right.
이렇게 볼 수 있겠고요. 그다음에 지금 투표율은 생각보다 굉장히 높다고 해요. 투표율 영어로는 turnout라고 합니다. 이게 한 단어예요. T-U-R-N-O-U-T. 이제 한 단어 명사로 썼을 때는 투표율이 되겠고요. 따로 쓰면은 동사인데 그러면은 사람들이 나와서 투표를 했다 이런 뜻이죠. A lot of people turned out
Right.
to vote.
It's the participation rate.
That's right. 자, 첫 번째 표현 보도록 하겠습니다. This could usher in a big change.
Yeah, when you usher in something, you're launching something new or marking the beginning of something. So you're bringing it in or initiating or opening the door for something to happen.
right. Yeah.
Because an usher is usually a guide or an escort that shows you to your seat, like in a theater or a play. And I don't see these anymore. Maybe we're dating ourselves, but I remember when movie theaters, there would be ushers and you show the usher your ticket. When you enter, and they will guide you to your seat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
네, 어셔라는 게 그냥 가수 이름만이 아니라 원래 어셔라는 거는요. 이렇게 문에서 그 고객이나 손님이나 관람객을 맞이하고 자리까지 안내해주는 사람.
Exactly.
이게 usher예요. 그래서 usher in이라는 것은 어서 오세요 하면서 뭔가를 이제 딱 도입이 되게 한다라는 동사로 많이 쓰거든요. 그러니까 어쩌면은 지금 이 극우 정당이 그 메인 파티 여당이 될 경우에 그러면은 이제 새로운 시대가 열릴 것이다. 새로운 시대가 올 것이다. 이런 느낌으로 it's gonna usher in a new era. It's gonna make history. Or you could say it's going to bring on a sea change.
Right. A sea change is an idiomatic expression that means profound or substantial transformation. It originates literally by changes in the sea. But now it's come to mean a shift or a big revolution in perspective or a way of thinking.
네, 엄청난 변화, 상전벽해. 그것을 영어로는 a sea change라고 얘기합니다. 실제로 이제 2차 세계대전 이후 처음으로 프랑스가 이렇게 극우 정당이 여당을 차지하는 경우가 될 수도 있을 것 같아서 그렇다면은 대격변, 엄청난 변화다 이런 의미로 지금 볼 수 있겠고요. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. French voters went to the polls on Sunday in the first round of a snap parliamentary election that could usher in a potential sea change, with the far right closer to power than it has ever been in modern times. And here's our next headline.
Plastic construction toy sets made by a global manufacturer, especially the pricier editions that can cost $1,000 or more, are being targeted for theft, both by individual shoplifters and larger organized retail crime rings in the U.S.
유명 글로벌 제조사의 플라스틱 조립 장난감 세트 중 특히 $1,000 이상의 고가 제품들이 집중된 절도가 미국에서 기승을 부리고 있습니다. 이 현상은 개인 절도범과 소매 범죄 조직을 가리지 않고 나타나고 있는 것으로 알려졌습니다. So we're talking about building blocks,
Yeah,
right?
the generic term would be building blocks, but
Yeah.
I think specifically a major toy manufacturer
Yeah.
brand is the target for these thieves,
So
basically.
because it's in the news, could you tell us what brand it is?
Yeah, it starts with an L, 4 letters, Lego.
Lego.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So they're highly sought after. They're in high demand because they are pretty pricey. I
Yeah.
mean, you as a parent might know that
Yes.
they actually are pretty expensive
Yeah.
in a way. So there's this big aftermarket or black market, you could say, where the price of these stolen Lego sets can actually go for their original price, and even used box sets can go up to 50% of the original price. So there have been instances of these thefts in California, in the Canadian province of British Columbia as well, where we're talking not just hundreds of or thousands of dollars. In the British Columbia instance, there were more than $150,000 worth of sets
Wow.
and toys that were stolen. So it seems to be a trend here.
이 빌딩 블록이라고 우리가 이제 그냥 일반적으로 generic term으로 표현을 할 수 있는데요. 뉴스니까 이제 브랜드 이름도 같이 말씀을 드렸고 이 레고에서 나오는 그런 제품들이 뭐 적게는 몇만 원에서 정말 많게는 몇백만 원, 몇 천만 원까지도 몇백만 원?
150,000 would be all. I think.
그러면
Yeah.
억대.
Well, not the exact sets, but this amount of worth of items were stolen
그렇죠.
here. So.
네, 그만큼 이제 누적된 금액을 보면은 상당한 금액이 될 텐데 이렇게 훔쳐가지고 그 다음에 블랙 마켓에 팔면은 또 뭐 상당한 돈을 번다고 해요. 그러다 보니까 절도범들이 기승을 부리고 있다고 합니다. 아이고, 자, 첫 번째 표현 절도범 아니면 뭐 도둑 이런
Yeah.
뜻이죠.
A shoplifter,
Yes.
basically,
Yeah.
right? That's someone who steals from a store displayed items, and you'll see signs that say shoplifters will be prosecuted when you go into stores. So they're basically petty thieves.
Yes.
You could say larcenists, and people who steal are kleptomaniacs.
That's right.
You know.
자, 이 shoplifter에 shop이라는 단어가 들어가죠. 그래서 가게에서 물건을 훔치는 그런 이제 좀도둑 내지는 그냥 절도범이라고 할 수 있을 텐데 그런 도둑을 이제 shoplifter라고 합니다. 집에 들어가서 물건을 훔치는 사람한테는 shoplifter라고 부르지는 않죠.
No.
네네. 자, 그 다음에 crime ring.
A crime ring is a criminal organization like a mob, the mafia, or just a gang or crime syndicate.
네, 여기서 말하는 ring이라는 건 조직입니다. 그래서 범죄 조직이 되겠어요. Crime ring. Here's the headline again. Plastic construction toy sets made by a global manufacturer, especially the pricier editions that can cost $1,000 or more, are being targeted for theft both by individual shoplifters and larger organized retail crime rings in the US. Now here's our final headline.
Scientists in Japan have found a way to attach living skin to robot faces for more realistic smiles and other facial expressions.
일본 과학자들이 로봇 얼굴에 살아있는 피부 조직을 부착해 진짜 사람과 흡사한 미소 등 여러 가지 표정을 짓도록 할 수 있는 기술을 개발했습니다. Now, I believe we have an image
Do we?
for this. 저희 이미지 같이 한번 띄워드릴게요.
Quite scary if you just read the headline at least.
아, 그렇군요. 그게
Yeah.
이제 일단 한번 상상을 먼저 해보시면은
Yeah.
네, 어떤 모습일까? 우리가 이제 일반 로봇 생각하면은 이 투박한 그런 쇠,
Yeah.
기기 그게 딱 연상이 되잖아요. 그런데 여기에다가 이제 피부 조직을 부착을 하다
Actual
보니까
human skin.
네,
Yes.
그 사실 저는 좀 무섭더라고요.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying because there are human-like, visually human-like robots that have been made, but they still look like mannequins
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
way. So I think this is what these scientists are trying to do, getting closer to a time when robots will live among us. This also reminds me of the movie Face Off, if you remember,
yes.
with John
Nicolas
Travolta
Cage.
and Nicolas Cage, where literally you would take someone's skin and put it on someone else.
네.
But it looks like they're doing it on robots.
이미지가 준비가 됐을까요? 이거 한번 찾아보시면 금방 또 검색이 되기는 할 텐데
Yeah.
네, 지금 기술적인 문제로 우리가 일단 상상을 좀 해보겠습니다. 피부 조직을 부착했더니 사실 좀 섬뜩한 이유가 로봇이 갑자기 미소를 딱 짓는
Yeah.
거예요.
Oh, there we go.
야, 보여드리겠습니다. 요겁니다. 자, 저기 지금 핑크색 저게 젤리가 아니라 피부 조직이라고 하는데요. 딱 요거를 부착했더니 저희는 이제 스틸컷으로 이미지만 보여드릴 건데 이게 갑자기 이제 입꼬리가 올라가는 것처럼 샥 미소를 짓거든요.
Yeah.
영상을 나중에 한번 찾아보세요.
It's a little creepy.
조금
Yeah.
저기 네 그래요. 근데 어쨌든 그만큼 real life의 느낌은 좀 있습니다.
Yeah, I think they're still in the initial stages
That's
of
right.
this development.
그만큼
But it can
기술이-
actually self-heal as well, apparently.
오, 치유하는 그런 힘도
Yeah.
있어요. 자, 첫 번째 표현 보도록 하겠습니다. Find a way to do something.
Yeah, that's what these scientists are doing. They're trying to discover a means or a method of obtaining their objective when you find a way to do something.
방법을 찾다. Find a way. 자, 그다음에 얼굴 표정.
Yep. Facial expression,
facial
right?
expression.
It's a form of communication, nonverbal
Yeah.
communication that's communicated through the muscles in your face. So no speaking, but just with expressions.
Yep. 얼굴 표정을 facial expressions라고 합니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. Scientists in Japan have found a way to attach living skin to robot faces for more realistic smiles and other facial expressions. That's it for today's headlines.
Online shopping sales in Korea rose 7.7% year over year last month to reach an all-time high for any May on the back of various shopping events and celebrations for family days.
지난달 국내 온라인 쇼핑 거래액이 다양한 쇼핑 이벤트와 가정의 달 관련 소비에 힘입어 전년 동기 대비 7.7% 증가해 5월 기준 역대 최고치를 기록했습니다. Tell us more.
Huge amount, 20.87 trillion won is the value of online shopping transactions for May. That was up by 1.49 trillion won year over year. And it's the largest amount ever for any May. It's food, it's beverages. They jumped by 16.6%. It was also that people were using their smartphones, their tablets, their mobile devices. There was a 7.8% increase of people using them to buy things online. And of course, May is a busy month.
It is.
Got
It's a family month.
It is Children's Day, Parents' Day. But there's also Teachers' Day and Buddha's
Yeah.
birthday and so on. But I think Children's Day and Parents' Day are the two biggest ones of
Yes.
well, to be honest, two of the biggest of the year.
Maybe. There you go. 자, 이렇게 5월이 가정의 달이죠. 그런데 역대 지금까지 기록된 5월의 온라인 쇼핑 거래액에 비해서도 올해 온라인 쇼핑 거래액이 5월 달에 이제 가장 높게 기록이 됐습니다. 그렇다고 해서 이제 월별로 봤을 때 사상 최고치는 아니고요. 두 번째로 가장 높은 거죠. 11월 달, I believe November, was it last year? Or I don't remember the year, but there was a time when online sales was a little bit higher than this time.
Sure, but for May's,
Yeah.
for any May,
Yeah.
this is the highest it's been.
For any May라고 하면은요, 5월 중에서는 이란 뜻입니다. 자, 5월 중 가장 높은 그 온라인 쇼핑 거래액이 기록이 됐습니다. 특히 핸드폰으로 이번에 주문한 사람들이 굉장히 많았다고 하는데요. 예전에 비해서 훨씬 더 많아졌다고 합니다. 자, 이렇게 우리가 데이터를 얘기할 때는 어느 시기와 비교를 하는지가 너무나 중요하죠. 그 전달인지, 그 다음에 전년인지, 아니면 뭐 5년 전, 10년 전. 그래서 영어로는 다양하게 표현할 수 있어요. Compared to last year, compared to the previous year 이렇게 표현할 수 있지만 이 표현도 많이 씁니다. Year over year.
I've got a confession to make, Sue.
Yeah.
5 years on Morning Special, never said this once. It's my first time. And actually, I had to check because I wasn't sure, because I'm used to year on year. That's an expression I've used a lot on the show.
This is an econ term.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's always about finances.
Yes.
So if you're looking at financial news, you will see this term used a lot. And because I'm a bit of a fool when it comes to finance, it's not one that I'm familiar with. But it basically means compared to the previous year.
네. 경제학도들은 너무나 잘 아실 겁니다. 이 YOY로 줄여서 표현하기도 하는데요. Year over year, 작년에 비해서라는 뜻이고 경제 용어인데 자, 여기서 이제 5월 달에 온라인 쇼핑 세일즈 얘기를 하면서 그 전해에 비해서 이러이러하다 이런 말을 얘기하고 있는 거죠. Year over year. year on year도 됩니다. 자, 그 다음에 family days라는 거는 무슨 뜻이죠, 여기서는?
Oh, this one I know, Sue. This
Yeah,
one I'm
yeah.
confident about because
Okay.
every year in May we have Children's Day and we have Parents' Day. And these are what we call family days because they're days for the family. You might, if you're at work and say, look, I'm taking Friday off. It's a family day for me. You can use it in a casual context to mean I want to spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
But here in Korean, when we talk about family days and public holidays, we're meaning those two.
가족을 위한 날이라는 뜻입니다. Family day, family days. 이제 5월 달에는 여러 family days가 있죠. Parents' Day, Children's Day 이런 것들을 비롯해서요. 자, 그런 얘기가 되겠습니다. Did you shop a lot in May?
Don't tell my wife.
Right.
I've contributed a few 100,000 won to that total.
You're not alone. Here's the headline again. Online shopping sales in Korea rose 7.7% year over year last month to reach an all-time high for any May on the back of various shopping events and celebrations for family days. Let's move on to our next headline.
The government has announced plans to establish a ministry at the Deputy Prime Minister level for population strategy and planning, tasked with overseeing policies regarding the country's critically low birth rate and aging society.
정부가 우리나라의 심각한 저출생 및 고령사회 관련 정책을 주관하게 될 부총리급 부처인 인구전략기획부를 신설한다고 발표했습니다. Tell us more.
Well, these are the two issues that Korea has been facing for a while, continues to face, and,
Yep.
well, the situation is getting more severe. So the idea for this new ministry is going to be to strategize and plan policies all to do with low birth rate, aging society, also workforce and immigration, and also looking at the crisis response policies of other ministries and local governments. So they're going to be allowed to allocate and adjust state budget all to do with the low birth rate, focusing on that in particular. And it also means there's going to be a bit of a shuffle. The position of Deputy Prime Minister for Social Affairs, that's normally the Education Minister, that's going to be transferred now to the Population Strategy and Planning Minister. That's going to be revised in the Government Organisation Act next month. It's tabled for then, it's not gone through yet. But certainly this is a big thing, and we know that the government has been talking about it for a number of years. We do have a record low birth rate, and we do have, a very quickly aging population.
Yeah, absolutely. You might even say a dwindling population.
Yes.
The word population meaning the number of people in a country.
That's right.
Or a city or whatever
Exactly,
it is.
an area of some sort.
Yeah, exactly. But the study of people, whether it's the number of people or the gender and anything to do with stats regarding people, that study is called demography. correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you're looking at the demographics.
Yeah.
Which means you're looking at the statistics, basically. So
Exactly.
yes, demography is when you're going, well, how many men do we have? How many women do we have? How many children were born this year? How many children were born 10 years ago? And
Births
so on.
and deaths and whatever it might be. Yeah, everything to do with people and the data regarding that.
Yeah, don't get it confused with democracy. It's a demography.
It's very different, of course. Okay, so here's our first expression, to establish something.
Let me set up an explanation for this.
We're going to establish an
I
explanation.
am, because that's what it means to set up, to organize, to create. If we establish something, be it a ministry, an organization, a company, a radio station, whatever it is, we're making it. We're creating it or giving it life, giving it existence.
아주 쉽게 말하면 만드는 건데요. 그보다는 좀 공식적인 느낌이 있기 때문에 설립하다 이렇게 해석을 하면 되겠고요. Tasked with something 이거는요.
Oh, do you have a job for me?
I'm tasking you with explaining what this means.
Which means you're giving me a job.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you're telling me to do it. And that's what it means. If you're tasked with something, someone or some group has told you, do this, or please do this.
Yes.
So, for example, you might task your children with a household chore. Can you tidy your room this afternoon? Or your teacher will task you with homework. Your boss will task you with a yearly report.
네.
It means you're having to do work because someone has asked you or told you to do it.
Exactly. So I'm sure our listeners know the term task force. 이제 우리는 이제 태스크 포스 이렇게 얘기하잖아요. 그때 그 태스크 미국 발음을 하면은 task 이렇게 될 텐데 task가 임무, 일, 업무 이런 뜻입니다. 해야 하는 일이에요. 그래서 be tasked with something이라고 하면은 어떤 업무가 주어졌다 이런 뜻인데 이 새로운 부처가 하게 될 일을 이렇게 설명을 하고 있습니다. 이제 주로 인구와 관련된 그런 일을 하게 되겠죠. 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The government has announced plans to establish a ministry at the deputy prime minister level for population strategy and planning, tasked with overseeing policies regarding the country's critically low birth rate and aging society.
The first hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic season, Beryl, has become a Category 4 storm, according to the US National Hurricane Center, prompting Caribbean countries to shut down as government officials urged people to take shelter.
올해 대서양 허리케인 시즌의 첫 허리케인인 베럴이 4등급으로 세력이 커졌다는 발표가 나옴에 따라 카리브해 국가 정부들이 국민들에게 대피령을 내리며 비상 대응에 나섰습니다. Alright, so it's called Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L.
Yes, and in case you're confused, for some of our listeners, yes, it is a woman's name. It's an old-fashioned woman's name.
is it?
Yes,
Okay.
but every year these hurricanes and typhoons are given names.
They do have, in America, I feel like they have people's names.
Exactly, yes.
Although in Asia, in this part of the world, we normally go for flowers, animals, and just, all sorts of different names.
Yeah, so different countries have different standards, and if we're looking at the Pacific hurricane season and the Atlantic hurricane season, that's different.
That's
and here it's the Atlantic.
Yes.
And that began June 1st. It's been going for a month. It ends on November 30th. And this is a big deal. A normal hurricane is Category 3. That's a major hurricane.
Okay.
And this has been upgraded to Category 4. That's when you have sustained winds of at least 209 kilometers per hour. So this is really dangerous. Yesterday, local time, governments were shutting things down, saying take shelter, and there were hurricane watches for Barbados, for St. Lucia, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada and Tobago. Plus, there were tropical storm watches or warnings for Martinique and Dominica. We've seen in previous years how devastating these hurricanes can be. And when we have one of these that's a Category 4,
Yeah.
I think people are very, very worried and wanting to make sure that everybody is safe.
Category 4, 이 4단계 허리케인으로 지정이 되면은요, 굉장히 이제 강력한 허리케인이라는 뜻인데, 보통은 최소 시속 209km의 바람이 분다라고 볼 수 있겠습니다. 미국에서는 이제 허리케인들이 보통 사람 이름 많이 붙어요. 그래서 그 유명한 허리케인들도 한번 잘 생각해 보시면 다 사람 이름이고 베럴도 마찬가지인데 여성의 이름입니다. 전통적으로는. 근데 이제 좀 태평양 쪽으로 넘어와서 이쪽에서는 우리는 보통 이제 허리케인이 아니라 타이푼 시즌이 있는데 우리는 뭐 다양한 국가에서 제출한
네.
그런 뭐 동물 이름, 꽃 이름 뭐 이런 것들을 많이 붙이죠. 그래서 조금 상황이 다릅니다. 자, 그러면 이제 첫 번째 표현을 볼게요. You're talking about the Atlantic season.
Yes, we're not talking about Korea's four seasons,
Oh.
which is, we have four seasons, summer, autumn, winter, and spring. But here, when we use the word season, it's talking about a regular period of time. So in this case, hurricane season is we know that from June through to the end of November every single year, that is when the hurricanes come. In the same way, if you're a baseball fan, you will be following the games during baseball season. If you're a football fan, you follow the games during football season. We're coming up to Olympic season. It's that time of year every 4 years where we have 2 months of fantastic sport.
Yes, exactly. 자, 무슨 season이라고 하면은 기간이라는 뜻으로 이해할 수 있겠고요. 지금 스포츠 예시 많이 들어주셨는데
Yeah, but
여러분도 아마 많이 쓰실 것 같아요.
Pop quiz, what season are we in now?
Summer,
More specifically?
monsoon season.
Yeah, monsoon or rainy season.
오케이. 자, 그렇죠. 그래서 계절이라는 뜻 말고도 어떠한 기간이라는 의미로 season을 많이 쓰는데 Atlantic hurricane season에서 이 hurricane이라는 단어가 그냥 생략이 됐을 뿐입니다. Atlantic는 대서양이죠. 그래서 대서양의 이 허리케인 발생 기간을 얘기하고 있습니다. 6월 초부터 11월 말 정도까지 허리케인이 발생을 한다고 하고요. 그 다음에 take shelter.
Yeah. So if you take shelter, you go somewhere where you will be safer than you would be outside or in your home. For example, I know that if there's an emergency, I will take shelter in the basement parking garage of the apartment building in front of my house because there's the 대피소 sign. There's the big sign that says, if there's a problem, go here.
네, take shelter라는 거는 대피하다라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 이제 명령할 때도 take shelter 이렇게 말하면 대피하세요 이게 되겠죠.
Yeah. Or you'll be ordered to shelter in place. For example, stay where you are.
Exactly. Well, here's the headline again. The first hurricane of the 2024 Atlantic season, Beryl, has become a Category 4 storm, according to the U.S. National Hurricane Center, prompting Caribbean countries to shut down as government officials urged people to take shelter. Here's our next headline.
Following a ransomware attack on Indonesia's temporary national data center on June 20th, which caused extensive disruptions, President Joko Widodo has ordered an audit of government data centers after it was revealed that most of the data they store is not backed up.
지난 6월 20일 인도네시아 국가 데이터 센터가 랜섬웨어 공격을 받아 광범위한 혼란이 발생한 후 센터가 데이터를 백업해 놓지 않은 것으로 확인되자 조코 위도도 인도네시아 대통령이 정부 관할 데이터 센터들에 센터들에 대한 감사를 지시했습니다. Tell us more.
Yes, so we have this ransomware. It's called Brain Cipher. It's lockbit malware. And it's basically locked up all the data and it's being held hostage. They're being asked or demanded to pay 131 billion rupiah, which is about $8 million US dollars. The government says they're not going to pay and instead they're trying to decrypt the data to get it back. And so the government has ordered this audit because, well, this is obviously a fishy situation, but also even more fishy is why government organizations are not backing up their data. So
Yeah.
they're trying to find out what's going on there. Most agencies have done it, it seems, because of budget constraints. It was optional. The option was there, but they have not done it because they did not have the money. In the future, however, it's going to become mandatory.
Fishy, of course, means that you feel like something's wrong.
Yeah, something's suspicious,
Yep.
something's off.
Yep, exactly. And ransomware is that malicious software used to either hack or, get data.
Yeah. So what it
damaged
does, it will
software.
take your data, or it will stop you from accessing your data unless
Right.
you pay money, and if you don't, it'll destroy it.
That's why it's called ransomware.
Yeah,
that
because
you have
it's
to pay money.
Offering a
Yeah.
ransom for your data.
Got it. Okay. So the first expression here is extensive disruptions.
So if something is extensive, it means there's a lot of it, or it's lasting a long time, and disruptions means there are delays or problems or postponements or cancellations or all sorts of issues. So it means there's a lot of issues because nobody can access this data.
extensive는 광범위하다는 뜻이 있고요. disruptions는 방해, 지장 이런 뜻입니다. 그래서 굉장히 광범위하게 인도네시아에서 이번 최근에 있었던 그 랜섬웨어 공격으로 인해 혼란이 빚어진 거죠. 자, 그다음에 이 표현 audit는요?
Yeah, spelled A-U-D-I-T. It means an official investigation that's usually coming from the outside. You're not doing it yourself. Your own company is not auditing itself. There will be independent auditors.
네. 회계 감사. 이걸 이제 audit라고 합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Following a ransomware attack on Indonesia's temporary national data center on June 20th, which caused extensive disruptions, President Joko Widodo has ordered an audit of government data centers after it was revealed that most of the data they store is not backed up. Now, here's our final headline.
Balmoral Castle, the Scottish retreat of the British royal family since the 1850s and where Queen Elizabeth II passed away, has opened its doors to the public for the first time.
1850년대부터 영국 왕실의 여름 별장이었으며 엘리자베스 2세 여왕의 서거 장소이기도 한 스코틀랜드의 발모럴 성이 이번에 처음으로 일반에 공개됐습니다. What do we know?
Well, it's very expensive. Costs
it?
you £100, about 175,000 won, or even £150, 262,000 won if you want afternoon tea.
Oh,
and you're not going to be able to get a ticket because they're all sold out. They sold out within 24 hours because there's only 40 people allowed to visit per day this summer. This is a really big deal because, for one, it's the first time it's been open to the public.
Yep.
Two, we have a new king, and King Charles loves this castle and actually uses the library as his working study. That's where dignitaries from around the world will come and meet him, and people want to get a glimpse of this fabulous, fabulous castle.
네. 하루에 40명씩 방문을 할 수 있고요. 7월 1일부터 8월 4일까지 일반에 공개가 되는데 벌써 표가 다 매진이 됐대요. 네, 그래서 그냥 방문하면서 가이드만 받게 되면은 100파운드, 한 17만 원이 좀 넘습니다. 근데 거기서 afternoon tea까지, 뭐 스콘이라든지 이런 거, 그다음에 English tea 마시면서 시간을 조금 더 보내게 될 경우에는 150파운드, 우리 돈으로 한 26만 원 정도인데요. 표를 구할 수도 없네요, 이제는. 네.
Well, this summer. But I have to say, they will have seen the popularity of it. And I think Prince Charles likes being quite open. So I have a feeling that
Maybe
thanks,
they'll do it again.
thanks to this success, maybe next summer they'll have another open session.
그럴 수 있겠네요. 자, 올해가 이제 처음이지만 뭐 끝이라는 법은 없으니까 또 할 수도 있지 않을까 기대를 좀 해봅니다.
And you know what we can call that if they do it again regularly next year?
What?
Tour season.
Tour season. All right. Now, what's a retreat, Paul?
A retreat is a place where you go to relax. Most of us don't have one. However, if you're very rich or quite rich, you might have a countryside retreat,
Yeah.
a second house in the country where you go to spend the weekend. If you're very, very, very rich, you might have an island retreat, a private island where you go and relax.
네. retreat라는 명사가 여기서 쓰였는데요. 별장이라는 의미로 쓰였습니다. 일종의 뭐 서머하우스 같은 거죠. 그런데 retreat에는 이런 이제 조용히 쉴 수 있는 장소라는 뜻 말고도 우리가 이제 후퇴할 때도 많이 쓰거든요. 전쟁 관련된 장면을 묘사할 때
Of course,
The soldiers retreated. 그때는 이제 조용히 쉬는 게 아니라 후퇴! 물러서! 하는 요런 좀 긴박한 상황이 되겠죠.
네.
그래서 한 단어의 안에 이렇게 다양한 뜻이 있습니다. 그 다음으로 이거 pass away 볼까요?
Yes, this is a very popular euphemism meaning to die. So this is a way that's often used in the newspapers. I think less so nowadays, but certainly when I was growing up, I feel that newspapers are being more blunt these days about the deaths of celebrities, but certainly a relative passes away, a friend passes away, the Queen passed away. We have plenty of euphemisms to deal with difficult topics.
What other ones are there?
Well, we have some not very nice ones. To kick the bucket or to
okay.
pop one's clogs. Those are two which you would not use about the Queen, for example, but people would use colloquially.
그래요. pass away는 사망하다, 돌아가시다 이런 뜻입니다. 그래서 우리도 역시 사망하다를 뜻하는 여러 뉘앙스의 단어들이 있는 것처럼 영어도 마찬가지인데요. 이게 제일 좀 무난한 것 같아요. 그 존중의 의미도 들어 있으면서 너무 단도직입적으로 죽었다, died 이렇게 말하지 않고 싶으면 they passed away 이렇게 표현하면 됩니다.
I think the most beautiful one, though, the most touching one for me is to cross the rainbow bridge, which is what pet owners,
Yeah.
cat butlers and dog butlers will often use when talking about a pet who has passed.
Does that expression exist in English? I
Yeah.
thought it was Korean.
It's used in both languages because that image, I think, is very, very special to pet owners because you do wish the best for your animal, whatever they are,
그렇군요.
and you do want to imagine that they're living a happy afterlife.
네. 무지개 다리를 건너다. 우리 반려동물들에 대해서는 이렇게 표현을 하잖아요. 영어로 한 번만 더 알려주세요.
Yeah, to cross the rainbow bridge.
Cross the rainbow bridge. 이렇게 표현을 하는군요. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. Balmoral Castle, the Scottish retreat of the British royal family since the 1850s, and where Queen Elizabeth II passed away, has opened its doors to the public for the first time.
The government activated the first level of its emergency response posture on Tuesday and raised the heavy rain crisis alert level to caution as heavy monsoon rainfall drenched the nation throughout the day.
어제 종일 전국에 장마로 인한 폭우가 내림에 따라 정부는 중앙재난안전대책본부 1단계를 가동하고 호위기경보 수준을 주의 단계로 상향했습니다.
Yep.
It really was a rainy day yesterday,
It
wasn't
was.
it?
It rained
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
So the government activated level 1 of its emergency response posture. They activated at 7:30 a.m. Of course, level 1 is the lowest level of emergency posture, and they raised the heavy rain crisis alert level to caution as well. And it was because the KMA, or the Korea Meteorological Administration, forecast up to 80 millimeters of precipitation in the central and southern regions, with 120 millimeters expected in some areas until Wednesday, of course, due to a low pressure system and stationary front. So the Interior Minister ordered related agencies to restrict access to areas that are prone to flooding, such as roads near streams and underpasses, and to notify the public about traffic control and detours.
So we are expecting to see some drizzles until today, but hopefully by this afternoon, the rain should subside. 자, 첫 번째 표현을 보도록 하겠습니다. To activate something.
Right. When we are activating something, it's used as a verb, and it means to make something active or make something operative.
활성화한다라는 뜻인데요. Activate the first level of emergency response라는 말이 나왔습니다. 이제 중앙재난안전대책본부 1단계를 가동하다. 이거를 영어로는 activate라고 표현을 할 수 있겠고요.
Yep.
And do you use this term for credit cards? as
Yeah,
well?
yeah, definitely. When you first get your card, it might not be activated until you maybe call and say you've gotten it
Yeah.
or confirm that it is you that has received this card, and it's of course for security purposes.
아, 그렇군요. 처음에 이제 신용카드를 받아서 이제 사용할 수 있게끔 할 때 그때도 영어로는 activate라는 동사를 쓸 수 있겠습니다.
Yep.
자, 그리고 이제 비 관련된 소식이기 때문에 drench라는 표현이 나와요.
Right. So if you didn't have an umbrella yesterday, you may have been drenched. So it's used as a verb, and it means to soak or to wet thoroughly or to make someone or something extremely wet.
흠뻑 적신다라는 뜻입니다. drench라는 게 그래서 비 관련 소식이다 보니까 이렇게 물과 관련된 drench가 나와 있는데요. You could be drenched
In sweat?
In sweat.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, exactly. So it doesn't have to be the rain, but some sort of liquid.
Yep.
Okay, here's the headline again. The government activated the first level of its emergency response posture on Tuesday and raised the heavy rain crisis alert level to caution as heavy monsoon rainfall drenched the nation throughout the day. Let's move on to our next headline.
The country's inflation rate held steady in the 2% range for the third consecutive month in June, with the consumer price index standing at 113.84, the lowest in 11 months.
6월 국내 소비자 물가 지수가 11개월 만에 가장 낮은 113.84를 기록하면서 물가 상승률이 석 달 연속 2%대를 유지했습니다. Okay, so some positive news, I suppose.
Yeah. So maybe we're starting to see the inflation rate stabilize a bit. So this is according to Statistics Korea, and they said that the consumer price index is stood at 113.84, as we mentioned. It's up 2.4% from a year earlier, but it does mark the lowest rate in 11 months, matching July of last year when it also stood at 2.4%. And they're saying that the inflation rate has been steadily slowing, dropping below 3% to 2.9% in April, and then it continued to decelerate to 2.7% in May and 2.4% in June. So we're seeing 3 months, consecutive months of decline. But they did say that commodity prices rose 2.7% on year, while prices of agricultural, livestock, and fishery products jumped 6.5%. So we're seeing some, discrepancies in, I guess, some products. The prices rose just a little bit, while other products like agriculture, livestock products rose by quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So prices are still increasing, but the rate of increase is slowing. Okay, the first expression is to hold something steady.
Right. So if we're mentioning that the rate held steady, it means it remained unchanged or it continued without changing. So we can use it when something is stabilizing or it's keeping a state of balance.
Yep, exactly. In Aesop's fables, the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise wins the race because he was slow and steady.
Steady,
And so the parable, the fable, what's the word? The message, the lesson behind it is slow and steady wins the race.
Yep.
자, 토끼와 거북이 그 이솝 우화에서 보면은 교훈이 그거죠. 천천히 꾸준히 하면은 이제 이길 수 있다. 네, 영어로는 slow and steady wins the race. 이 steady라는 게 그래서 거의 같은 속도로 꾸준히 뭔가를 지속한다라는 뜻이 있습니다.
Yep.
여기서는 이제 물가 상승률이 석 달 연속으로 계속 한 2%대를 꾸준히 유지하고 있기 때문에 표현을 쓰고 있고요. range라는 표현도 한번 볼까요?
Right. So the range is the area of variation between the upper and lower limits on a particular scale. So here we said that it held steady in the 2% range. That means it ranges from 2.0 to 2.9. The range is.
그렇죠. 그러니까 뭐 숫자 그 대를 얘기할 때 range라고 하는데 보통은 이제 영어에서 the A to B range 그래가지고 A와 B 사이에 있는 요 범위 안에 요 숫자대 예를 들어서 I don't know like the 2 to 6% range 그러면 2%에서 6%대 요 사이 이런 의미로 많이 쓰고요. 여기서는 숫자가 물론 하나만 나왔죠. 2%대라는 뜻으로. 네, 참고로 보통은 이제 2개 정도의 숫자를 같이 얘기 많이 한다. 이렇게 알아두시면 되겠습니다. 어디에서 어디까지라는 그런 느낌이에요. 자, 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The country's inflation rate held steady in the 2% range for the third consecutive month in June, with the consumer price index standing at 113.84, the lowest in 11 months.
Jin of K-pop supergroup BTS is set to participate as a torchbearer for the 2024 Paris Olympics, according to sources in the music industry, but the exact location and schedule for his participation have yet to be disclosed.
음악계 소식통에 따르면은 그룹 방탄소년단의 진이 2024 파리올림픽의 성화봉송 주자로 나설 예정이나 구체적인 시간과 장소는 아직 공개되지 않은 것으로 알려졌습니다. All right. So we have how many days left? Roughly 23 days until the Olympics begin.
It's at the end of this month, right? So Jin is going to travel to France. We don't know when, but in the near future to take part in the torch relay. As we mentioned, we do not know the exact location or schedule for his participation. And you might wonder, is Jin a athlete? Has he been involved in sports? But they're saying that they didn't really say why he's being involved in the torch relay, but it's probably because of BTS's global popularity and the group's decade-long message of love yourself, which fits very well with the whole theme of, or whole, the Olympic mindset, sportsmanship, taking care of yourself. So I think that goes along very well with that. Jin is the first member of the group to have completed his mandatory military service.
Right.
So he is out since last month, and he is reportedly preparing to do a lot of different things. He's going to make an appearance on a TV variety show soon, and he is also gearing up to release a new single in the second half of this year.
Right. Since all of the other members of BTS are serving in the military, Jin seems to be the only one who is currently available.
Yes.
But still representing BTS. It looks like he's going to be holding the torch for the Olympics. And I remember early on, when BTS blew up, there was this video of a flash mob in France. And all these French people, they were singing BTS songs. 떼창이라고 하죠, 우리는.
Yeah.
It's a flash mob video. 그 기억이 나네요. 그래서 정말 인기
Very
많다는
popular.
거는
Yeah,
네,
very
알고
popular in
있는데.
Europe. Yep.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people in France started to learn Korean because of BTS. So there you have it. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why. 자, 첫 번째 표현입니다. A torchbearer.
Yes, a torchbearer. So it's a person who carries a ceremonial torch, and we know that for the Olympics they have the torch. The flame comes from where the Olympics began in Greece, and it travels, and it's been traveling, I think, around France.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't say torch holder.
Nope.
We say torch bearer.
Yeah.
B-E-A-R.
There's another word that uses bearer as well. Ring bearer at weddings is the person that carries the ring. So someone who's doing something important. I think you might use the word bearer.
우리나라에서는 결혼식 때 이렇게 꼬마가 반지 들고 오는 거 별로 못 보는데요. 서양에서는 많이 하거든요. 그래서 이렇게 뭐 아기나 어린아이들이 보통
Yeah, yeah.
이렇게 반지를 들고 와가지고 근데 이거 관련된 영화도 많죠. 아기가 그냥 잃어버린다든지
Yeah.
어디다
Oh dear.
떨어뜨리거나
Oh dear. Yeah.
이런 경우도 많은데 이제 반지를 들고 오는 사람 ring bearer라고 부르고요. 그다음에 그 횃불을 들고 성화봉송을 들고 오는 그 주자는 영어로 torch bearer 한 단어입니다. What about yet to be?
Yet to be. So yet to be means until now or a particular time in the past. So something that hasn't happened but will probably happen. We usually use this expression.
그렇죠. 보통 이제 have 동사랑 같이 have yet to be 이렇게 씁니다. 그래서 아직 뭐뭐 하지 않았다 이런 뜻인데요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Jin of K-pop supergroup BTS is set to participate as a torchbearer for the 2024 Paris Olympics, according to sources in the music industry. But the exact location and schedule for his participation have yet to be disclosed. Let's move on to the next headline.
At just 28 years old, Jordan Bardella could become France's youngest prime minister after voters propelled far-right Marine Le Pen's national rally to a strong lead in Sunday's first round of snap legislative elections.
지난 일요일에 실시된 프랑스 총선 1차 투표에서 마린 르펜이 이끄는 국민연합의 유권자들의 표가 집중되면서 당대표 조르당 바르델라가 28세로 최연소 프랑스 총리가 될 가능성이 커졌습니다.
Yep.
Tell us more.
Yeah, so, still related to France, I guess, what's
Yeah.
going on in the political scene there. So voters have propelled Marine Le Pen's national rally to a strong lead in Sunday's first round of snap legislative elections. And, Bardella is kind of, I guess, her protege, maybe we could say. So, he's replaced his mentor, Marine Le Pen, back in 2022. So he became the first person without the Le Pen name to lead France's leading far-right party, which is the National Rally. And his selection back then, it marked sort of a symbolic changing of the guard. And it was, they say, part of Le Pen's decade-long effort to rebrand her party to broaden its base. He joined back a while ago when he was only 17, and he's quickly risen through the ranks, serving as party spokesperson and president of its youth wing before being appointed vice president and then becoming the second youngest member of the European Parliament in history back in 2019. So it's, right as of now, they're doing very well, and it looks like he could become the country's youngest prime minister.
Yeah, exactly. So in France, you have the president, who is Macron, and then you have the prime minister, who is the leader of the ruling party. Now, the thing here is that the ruling party looks to be the opposing party to the president's
That's
party.
right, that's right.
And the leader of that would be, as you said, 28-year-old Jordan Bardella. He was born in 1995, and he is set to be the youngest prime minister if
If the party goes into power, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another vote coming
Yeah.
up as well. There's 2
Yeah.
votes. Okay, so let's have a look at our first expression, to propel.
Right, to propel. So I think we've talked about this before. Airplanes have propellers, right? So it causes the airplane to move forward. So that's exactly what this means. It means to drive, push, or cause to move in a particular direction, and it's typically used when it's moving forward.
추진하다. 프로펠러 틀어가지고 그 앞에 이게 뭔가 슉 밀리는 느낌이죠. 나아가게 한다 이런 뜻이고요. Snap election은
Right, a snap election is an election that is called earlier than the one that has been scheduled.
예정보다 빠른 선거를 말합니다. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 제가 읽어볼게요. At just 28 years old, Jordan Bardella could become France's youngest prime minister after voters propelled far-right Marine Le Pen's national rally to a strong lead in Sunday's first round of snap legislative elections. And here's our final headline.
Sweden has launched a groundbreaking new law that allows grandparents to step in and get paid parental leave while taking care of their grandchildren for up to 3 months of a child's first year.
스웨덴에서 조부모가 손주 양육 시 생후 첫 해에 최대 3개월간 부모의 유급 육아휴직을 쓸 수 있게 하는 획기적인 새 법안이 시행됐습니다. And this is needed in today's day and age, I feel like.
Yeah. So, a lot of, I guess, advanced countries or developed countries are going through this sort of low birth rate crisis. So this could be maybe incentive for couples to have more children. At least I think that's what they're going towards. But Sweden is known for its sort of groundbreaking policies regarding childcare. They became the first country in the world to introduce paid parental leave for fathers, not just mothers, back 50 years ago.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was in 1974. So they replaced the gender-specific maternity leave. I think that's when people started saying it's not just maternity leave, it's
Yeah.
parental leave. And it kind of began in Sweden. So this new law, it will allow grandparents to step in and get paid parental leave while taking care of their grandchildren for up to 3 months. And they're saying that parents can transfer some of their parental leave allowances to the grandparents if they take care of the children. And a parent couple can transfer a maximum of 45 days to others, while a single parent can transfer 90 days. So they're making the system more flexible.
이런 육아 해결책의 선두주자군요. 스웨덴이 50년 전에요, 여러분. 스웨덴에서 처음으로 육아 휴직을 남성에게 제공하기 시작했다고 합니다.
Yep.
뭐 지금은 다 있잖아요. 뭐 우리나라도 당연히 있고, 뭐 많은 나라에서 선진국은 특히 뭐 다 그렇게 하고 있는 것 같은데, 스웨덴에서 처음 이렇게 했었군요.
Yeah. And 50
이제는-
years ago.
그러니까요,
Yeah.
50년 전에. 그러니까 그 기존에는 이제 출산 휴가, 뭐 여성들만 가는 휴가라고 이제 생각을 많이 했다라면 스웨덴에서 아빠들도 이렇게 육아휴직 낼 수 있다. 그런
Although
인식을 가지고 있었군요.
They do say that when it first began, not a lot of fathers took the leave.
그렇긴
yeah,
했겠죠.
yeah.
네. 도입은 됐었어도 물론 그거를 실제로 뭐 휴직서를 내는 아빠들이 많지는 않았겠지만 그래도 어쨌든 처음에 이렇게 도입을 한 나라이고 이번에는 이제 할머니 할아버지 조부모가 어린 손주를 양육할 경우에 첫 해 한해서 3개월 동안 부모의 유급 육아휴직을 그 조부모님이 쓸 수 있게 하는 그런 제도가 도입이 됐다고 합니다.
Yep.
굉장히 groundbreaking 하네요.
Yeah, groundbreaking. So breaking new ground. When something is innovative or pioneering, we use this expression.
네, 획기적이다 이런 뜻이고요. parental leave라는 표현 아까 설명해 주셨는데 한 번
Yeah.
더 알려주시겠어요?
Yeah, parental leave is the time that parents and caregivers take off work to
Yeah.
care for their children or new baby. And they say in Sweden, you're entitled to be fully off work when your child is born. So parental benefits are paid out for 480 days. That's
Yeah.
about 16 months per child.
스웨덴에서는 현재 이제 육아휴직을 내게 되면은 뭐 엄마든 아빠든 보통은 480일 그러니까 한 16개월 동안 육아휴직을 낼 수 있다고 하고요. 그 중에서 390일 그러니까 1년이 좀 넘는 거죠. 그 기간 동안에는 그 원래 받았던 월급 100% 다 받을 수 있다고 합니다.
Yeah.
그리고 나머지 기간 동안에는 조금 줄어들기는 하지만 네, 이런 옵션이 있다고 하네요.
Yeah.
parental leave라는 것은 이제 육아휴직인데 parent라는 단어가 들어있죠. 그래서 남녀 구분하지 않는 거고 maternal leave 그러면은 엄마의 육아휴직, paternal leave 그러면 아빠의 육아휴직인데 parental leave는 그냥 다 네, 부모면은 다 되는 겁니다.
The leave here is, when you're taking time off
Yes,
work.
that's
So,
another good
yeah,
one.
so
Yeah.
I'm on leave. That means I'm not at work today.
네, 이것도 굉장히 좋은 표현인데요. I'm on leave. You add the on there. 그러면 나 지금 휴직 중이야. 이런 뜻이 되겠습니다. 이게 leave가 또 꼭 휴직이 아닐
Yeah,
수
it could just
있어요.
be a day.
맞아요.
Yeah.
그냥 나 오늘 하루 휴가 냈어. 이럴 때도 on leave 쓰기도 해요. 그래서 이거는 뭐 하루 휴가든 아니면 좀 긴 기간 동안의 휴직이든 다 I'm on leave 이렇게 표현할 수 있습니다. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Sweden has launched a groundbreaking new law that allows grandparents to step in and get paid parental leave while taking care of their grandchildren for up to 3 months of a child's first year.
Next year's minimum wage will be applied universally after members of the Minimum Wage Commission voted down a differentiated wage by industry.
내년 국내 최저임금은 사용자 측이 제안한 업종별 차등 적용안이 최저임금위원회 표결에서 부결됨에 따라 예년과 같이 단일 적용될 예정입니다. Okay, so we're talking about the minimum wage, and I suppose members of the Minimum Wage Commission, some of them had tried to differentiate the wages by industry.
by industry, right. So really this is like management side. Business owners want this. And a lot of them are arguing for lower pay for certain businesses, like small businesses, restaurants, taxi services, convenience stores.
Right.
They said, due to economic challenges faced by small business owners, this would be beneficial. However, the labor sector, they fiercely oppose this,
Sure.
and they say that this really undermines the whole purpose of having a minimum wage in the first place, which I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
understand as well.
Exactly. Well, at the end of the vote, it turns out that more people were in favor of keeping it universal than changing it.
That's right. 15 against, 11 in favor. So, and then one invalid vote. So it was somewhat close. Now, differentiated minimum wages were only implemented ever once in Korea back in 1988. But since then, it's been universally applied, and that's it across all sectors for the last 36 years.
아, 그렇군요. 1988년도에는 한 차례 이렇게 최저임금을 차등 적용한 적이 있지만 그 외에는 한 번도 그런 적이 없었는데 이번에 이제 차등 적용을 하자라는 안건에 대해서 이번에 그 최저임금 위원회 표결에서요. 15표는 반대, 그다음에 11표는 찬성, 그리고 한 표는 무효표였다고 합니다. 그래서 이제 반대표가 많다 보니까 차등 적용하지 않기로 한 것이죠. 자, 반대할 때는 against, 찬성할 때는 in favor of, 그리고 invalid라는 것은 무효라는 뜻이 되겠습니다.
Now the big question that this proposal was voted down is what the minimum wage will end up being. And the big question is, will it surpass that manwon threshold, which it never has before in Korea? So the labor side, they're expected to propose a minimum wage of 12,210 won, whereas the management side, they'd like to keep it where it currently is at 9,860 won.
Yeah. Because they're bound to find some sort of number in the middle. I think that's
Sure.
why the Labour is calling for a slightly
Well,
higher number. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You know, it probably will end up being a little upwards of manwon, I would imagine. Probably in
Yeah,
that
looks
maybe
like it.
Mano Begwon area, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember making like $10 an hour was big in Canada when I was younger. If you got that much, that in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. All right, so let's have a look at this first expression, which is to apply the minimum wage universally.
Applies to everybody. No matter what job you do, minimum wage is minimum wage.
자, universal이라는 것은요, 누구에게나 해당된다라는 뜻이 있습니다. 그래서 universally 그러면은 그냥 똑같이라는 뜻이 있어서요, 차등 적용하지 않고 그냥 일괄적으로 같은 최저임금을 적용하겠다. The minimum wage will be applied universally. And what about voting down?
Voting down means something does not, you're having a vote on something,
Yeah.
some issue, and it fails. So there are more people against it than people in favor of it. So you lose by majority rule.
Yeah, there's two parts to this expression, obviously. To vote, 투표하다, and down means the
down.
proposal was rejected.
Exactly.
이렇게 제안된 것이 결국은 거부됐다라는 의미예요. 그래서 부결됐다라는 뜻으로 be voted down이라고 말할 수 있습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. Next year's minimum wage will be applied universally after members of the Minimum Wage Commission voted down a differentiated wage by industry. Let's move on to the next headline.
The fifth African swine fever case of the year has been confirmed at a pig farm in Andong in North Gyeongsang province.
경북 안동시의 한 돼지 농장에서 올해 들어 5번째 아프리카 돼지열병이 발생했습니다. Okay, so just to be clear, this doesn't affect pork and humans. However, it is a disease, a virus that spreads among pigs.
And kills them
and
very,
kills
very
them.
rapidly, doesn't
yeah.
it? Right.
So tell us more.
So the government said on Tuesday that this latest case was confirmed at a farm in Andong, as we mentioned, and this pig farm raises around 190 pigs, and unfortunately this came just 17 days after another case of ASF was reported in Yeongchun,
Right.
In the same province in North Gyeongsang on June 15th. So due to this, the authorities already started culling the pigs in Andong, at the Andong farm, unfortunately, as a preventative measure.
Sure. Instead of saying African pig fever, the expression used is African swine fever. Do they mean the same
Yeah,
thing?
swine is a pig. I think all kinds of pigs, not
Yeah.
just, cute little pink ones, all the different kinds.
Right, but it's the formal academic expression,
Yeah, I
I
believe
almost want to
so.
say. Yeah.
Right.
It's like avian influenza.
Sure.
We could say bird flu, but the
technical
formal
term,
technical
yeah.
term, yeah, that's right, is
Right.
avian influenza. 우리가 조류 독감 할 때 이제 영어로도 이렇게 뭐 새라는 단어를 쓸 수도 있긴 해요. bird flu 이렇게 표현할 수도 있지만 이거를 조금 더 공식적인 표현으로는 조류 독감이라고 하는 것처럼 이 돼지 열병인데 돼지라는 그 학명이 이제 swine이라는 단어가 있습니다. SWINE. 그래서 African swine fever가 바로 아프리카 돼지 열병이 되겠습니다. And to be confirmed.
Yeah, when something's confirmed, it's made official, or something is validated. So you say that you state that something is true or something is correct. If something confirms, or even you could get permission for something. You could ask a manager, and they confirm your day off. So they say yes, you can officially have that thing.
Yep. confirm이라는 거는 확인하다, 명확하게 하다 이런 의미가 있습니다. 그런데요, 이제 질병과 관련해서 얘기할 때는 확진의 의미가 있죠. I mean, we used this a lot during the pandemic, right?
Too much.
Almost every
Yeah.
day, I think.
Yes,
The
confirmed
yeah,
cases.
exactly, 맞아요. 이제 또 확진됐다 그 얘기를 정말 지난 3년 동안 참 많이 했었는데 그때 이제 confirm을 쓸 수도 있겠고 그 외에도 우리가 어디 예약을 할 때도요. 예약 확인하는 것을 confirm a reservation.
You'll receive confirmation emails a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. 가끔은 호텔에 이제 바로 예약이 되는 게 아니라 대기로 올라갔다가 그 다음에 이제 나중에 이메일이 올 때가 있잖아요. 그럴 때 confirmation email 받는다고 합니다.
They may even request your confirmation number.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Sometimes that's on that confirmation email for a flight or
확정
whatever
번호.
it is.
Yes, exactly. 자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. The fifth African swine fever case of the year has been confirmed at a pig farm in Andong in North Gyeongsang province.
Alaska's Juneau ice field, home to more than 1,000 glaciers, is now shrinking nearly 5 times faster than it was in the 1980s, according to a new study.
네. 1000개 이상의 빙하가 자리한 미국의 알래스카 주노우 빙원이 1980년대보다 거의 5배나 빠른 속도로 녹고 있다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. Tell us more.
Well, the melting of this ice field, which we should mention, this ice field has an area of around 140 square meters.
Okay.
And as we mentioned, it's home to over around 1,000 glaciers. They're saying that this area, this snow-covered area, is now shrinking 4.6 times faster than it was, nearly 5 times.
Yeah.
Only 4 of the Juneau icefield glaciers melted completely between 1948 and 2005. But just between 2005 and 2019, 64 of them have disappeared. So that right there shows the acceleration. And this is according to federal weather data from the U.S., the Arctic is warming about 4 times faster than the rest of the world, with Alaska warming 1.5 degrees Celsius since 1980.
It's very worrying.
It is, right. And the study also mentioned that between 2000 and 2020, we're losing more ice in Alaska than anywhere else in the world.
그렇군요. 2000
Since 2000 to 20, so in that 20-year span, from 2000 to 2020.
2000년도부터 2020년까지 보게 되면은 알래스카의 빙하가 그 어느 곳의 빙하보다 많이 빠르게 녹고 있었다라고 합니다. 양이 가장 이제 좀 방대하다라고 볼 수 있을 것 같네요. 자, 이런 빙원. 그러니까 지표 전면에 이렇게 두꺼운 얼음이 덮여 있는 그런 벌판을 ice field라고 합니다. What's shrinking?
When something gets smaller,
Yep.
reduces in size. So, if you buy a new shirt and you put it in the washing machine with warm water, there's
Yeah.
a good chance it'll shrink.
맞아요. 이 shrink라는 것은 사이즈가 확 줄어들었다는 뜻이어서 대표적으로 많이 쓰는 게 우리 겨울에 울로 된 스웨터 같은 거 세탁기 아니면 건조기에다가 잘못 넣으면은 사이즈가 그냥 쬐끄맣게 줄어들죠. 요게 shrinking이에요. 작게 줄어든다. 자, 그래서 여기서는 지금 빙하가 많이 녹아내리고 있다라는 뜻으로 쓰고 있습니다.
There was a good movie in the late 80s called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Rick Moranis?
Yeah, with the machine and he accidentally shrinks the kids.
Right, and they end up like in the cereal. I thought that was
Yeah.
funny when I was a kid.
네, 그렇습니다. Of course, there is another meaning of shrink, and this is sort of colloquially when you talk about a mental health professional, but it's not an official term.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. But
Okay.
yes.
Here's the headline again. Alaska's Juneau ice field, home to more than 1,000 glaciers, is now shrinking nearly 5 times faster than it was in the 1980s, according to a new study. Here's our next headline.
Greece has started offering private visits to one of the world's most visited ancient monuments, the Acropolis, for 5,000 euros or about 7.5 million won.
세계에서 가장 많이 방문하는 고대 유적지 중 한 곳인 그리스의 아크로폴리스가 5,000유로, 우리 돈으로 약 750만 원의 입장료를 내면 개인 방문을 허용하기로 했습니다. So currently it is actually closed to the public, but if you pay this money, am I getting this right? Then
no,
you can
I
go
believe no. There's normal visits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, normal visits in the regular business hours are 20 euros.
I
Only
see.
20 euros. 30 if you want to combine the ticket with other sites like the Parthenon Temple or other things like that.
But it's if you want a private
If you want a
visit.
private one, and that'll
Got
be
it.
outside of normal operating hours. So I believe it was like 7 a.m. the early morning, and then in the evening, 8. I think it was about 8 p.m. I don't have the opening hours with me here, but I remember that
Yeah.
that's what it was. So
okay.
these new tours, they'll be conducted in English, French, German, Greek, Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. So,
okay.
unfortunately, no luck for our Korean tourists. You'll have to keep listening to Morning Special and improve your English so you can go and take a private visit if you want in English. But I don't know who would pay
quite a
7.5
lot.
million won for that.
Yeah. So private visit is
Go somewhere by yourself or
Yeah.
with your chosen group of people. Probably it's a smaller group. I got to do a private visit of Old Trafford in the football stadium in
Oh.
Manchester.
how?
Just signed up for it, and because my dad's old, they just put us in a different group. And
Nice.
yeah, this old man took us around too. We got to go into the change room by ourselves. There was no other people, and this guy was telling us stories and making jokes about like David Beckham and stuff like that. He was a real comedian.
영국의 한 축구장을 개인 투어를 이렇게 할 수 있게 됐었군요. 그러니까 아버지랑 둘이 갔다는 얘기죠. 그런 식으로 다른 사람들 없이 마치 전세를 내가지고 나만 내지는 뭐 나와 가족만 갈 수 있을 때 private visit라고 얘기를 할 수 있습니다.
I didn't pay private visit prices. We just kind of got lucky on that one.
Wow, very nice. A private jet, of course, is a plane that only a couple
Rich
of people
people
will,
take.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, the people who take private jets, they go to these big conferences, like in Davos, and they tell everybody about climate change, and then they
There's-
jump on their private jets back home.
There is a couple that comes to mind.
Greta Thunberg.
Oh, I wasn't thinking of her actually.
Oh, you're thinking about all the other people that run the world. Yeah, I got you.
전용기는 private jet라고 하고요. 개인 방문은 private visit라고 합니다. 자, ancient monument는요?
Ancient monuments. Well, if you hear ancient, you mean you hear it's very, very old. Don't say it to some person; they could be offended.
Oh, yeah.
And then a monument is a building or a structure.
고대 유적지를 ancient monument라고 합니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. Greece has started offering private visits to one of the world's most visited ancient monuments, the Acropolis, for 5,000 euros or about 7.5 million won. Now here's our final headline.
A flight from Spain to Uruguay was diverted for an emergency landing in Brazil due to severe turbulence, with passengers likening the ordeal to a horror movie.
스페인에서 출발해 우루과이로 향하던 비행기가 심한 난기류로 인해 브라질에 비상 착륙했습니다. 이 과정에서 승객들은 자신들이 겪은 상황을 공포 영화에 비유한 것으로 알려졌습니다. Tell us more.
Did you watch? You saw the video for this, didn't you?
I saw some of the still cut images. I didn't see the videos.
Don't watch.
actually.
If you,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't watch it.
But I read the stories and the accounts of the people. 40 were injured. Some of them said they were just like flying inside
yeah,
the cabin.
one guy
Like-
was. I don't know how, but ended up into the baggage compartment.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened,
yeah.
but
It's the pressure
I
over everything.
I hate turbulence. I get nervous on flight, so
Mm-hmm.
this is just not the type of story that I like. At least nobody was killed. You know, what the people said is they said like we thought we were going to die.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
that really, and you see the video of it.
but no one did die.
The plane dropped. Like was it 1,000 kilometers or 1,000 meters? Like no one died, and this. So that's good.
Yeah.
But it is not good news for Boeing, because Boeing has been under a lot of pressure lately.
Yeah.
A lot of whistleblowers have come out actually. More than a dozen whistleblowers have come forward in recent years, even just last week.
Regarding the safety.
Yeah, a whistleblower
measures,
said
yeah.
that the 787 planes were built in an unsafe manner. Another previous whistleblower was an engineer and reported the same issues with the 787 and the 777.
This can't keep happening.
This particular one was a 787-9 Dreamliner. So,
Okay.
yeah, not good news for Boeing. We haven't really said exactly what the issue was yet. They really just blaming it on turbulence.
네, 다행히 큰 피해는 없었다고 해야 될까요? 부상자는 많이 나왔습니다. 한 40명 정도가 다쳤다고 합니다. 그 중에는 지금 중환자실에 가서 치료를 받고 있는 환자도 있다고 하는데요. Intensive Care Unit. 그렇지만 이제 사망자는 나오지 않았는데 이것을 겪은 승객들이 나 죽는 줄 알았다 이렇게 얘기했고요. 공포 영화의 한 장면인 줄 알았다. 그래서 이 난기류가 그냥 조금 있는 정도가 아니었네요. 정말 이렇게 수직 하강을 했던 그 시간 동안에는 갑자기 벨트 안 채운 승객들은 몸이 그냥 천장으로 확 올라가기도 하고 그래서 많이들 다쳤다고 합니다.
So the plane dropped very suddenly 400 meters at a speed of 1,000 kilometers an hour. So I had my numbers wrong there. So
Yeah, but still.
and people were flying up and hitting the roof. Apparently, the roof had some damage. And as you mentioned there, so 40 people were injured and 4 were taken to intensive care units in Brazil.
중환자실에 들어간 환자는 4명이군요.
Obviously, you hear intensive care, you know that they're serious injuries.
그렇습니다. 자, divert라는 표현은 무슨 말일까요?
Divert is when someone is sent somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's usually for an emergency or out of necessity. A lot of times you'll see it on a road. You're driving on a road, there's construction or there's been an accident. Traffic will be diverted to a different road.
네, 방향을 바꿔서 우회하게 하는 거예요. 원래는 유럽 스페인에서 이제 남미 우루과이까지 갈 예정이었고 브라질에서 내릴 비행기가 원래 아니었죠. 그렇지만 이 난기류로 인해서 비상 착륙을 했는데 그게 이제 방향을 튼 거니까 the plane was diverted and it had to make an emergency landing in Brazil.
If I was there, I would not be getting back on an airplane anytime soon. I think I might just live in South America now.
So this whole ordeal sounded like it was just absolutely frightening.
Oh, yeah. So an ordeal obviously is bad. It's an experience, something you go through, but it's terrible. It's difficult. It may be dangerous. It might be traumatic. It's some really tough time that you have to endure.
네, 굉장히 힘들고 어려운 경험을 ordeal이라고 말합니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A flight from Spain to Uruguay was diverted for an emergency landing in Brazil due to severe turbulence, with passengers likening the ordeal to a horror movie.